Welcome to Sharon United Methodist Church's Safe Sanctuaries presentation. This is our local church policy for the protection of children, youth, and vulnerable adults. The General Conference of the United Methodist Church adopted a resolution aimed at reducing the risk of abuse of children in church. The adopted resolution calls that all churches welcome children, but also make our churches safe places for children to be able to grow and to learn. It is our responsibility to be proactive in our recruiting, our screening, and training to find people with a gift for caring for children, youth, and vulnerable adults, but also to protect those volunteering from false accusations. It is also our responsibility to oversee all programs involving these individuals to make sure that there's a safe environment and to also have a plan in place should an accusation arise. The General Conference resolution affirmed that every local church shall have a policy in place for protecting our children, youth, and vulnerable adults. The purpose of this policy is to protect all the children, youth, and vulnerable adults that come to us and to protect both our paid and volunteer staff from potential false allegations of abuse. The establishment of these policies and procedures for Sharon United Methodist Church in Supply, North Carolina is to demonstrate our absolute and unwavering commitment to the physical safety and spiritual growth of all of our children, youth, and vulnerable adults.
The policy applies to adults who work with children, youth, and vulnerable adults in the ministries of Sharon United Methodist Church. These ministries include, but are not limited to, the following: Sunday School, Youth Group, Legacy Praise Team, the King's Kids, Sea Kids, dramatic or musical presentations, and nursery care. We adopted the following as minimum standards for our ministries with children, youth, and vulnerable adults. Careful screening is one way to prevent the abuse of children, youth, and vulnerable adults. It can be time-consuming and expensive, but well worth the effort and peace of mind that the most reliable, committed, and experienced staff and volunteers are in place for every program that involves these individuals. All workers with children, youth, and vulnerable adults will have completed an application. All workers will provide a current criminal background check or complete an authorization form for one to be obtained by the church. The information obtained will be used for screening purposes. The volunteer will be asked to pay the fee for the background check. However, no one will be turned away if they are unable to pay. After initial screening, all workers will be rescreened every 3 years. Supervision procedures are designed to reduce the possibility of abuse to children, youth, and vulnerable adults and volunteers from unwarranted accusations. There will be 2 non-related adults with all groups. It will be considered having 2 adults when there are 2 adults overseeing activities in an area with rooms sharing a common hallway. When this is not possible, there will be an adult assigned to roam between activities being held at the same time. Doors will remain open at all times. All lead workers, counselors, teachers, and nursery workers will be at least 18 years of age. All helpers and assistants will be at least 16 years of age. At special activities, youth will be allowed to assist if they are at least 13 years old. All children and youth leaving the church property will have a permission slip signed by their parent or guardian that includes pertinent health information and emergency contact numbers. All drivers for children, youth, and vulnerable adult activities beyond the church property will be at least 21 years of age and will furnish the church with a copy of a valid driver's license. For transportation in personal vehicles, there must be at least 2 children, youth, vulnerable adults, if there is only 1 adult in the vehicle. For transporting a single child, youth, vulnerable adult, there must be at least 2 non-related adults in the vehicle. There will always be at least 2 adults accompanying children, youth, vulnerable adults to activities beyond the church property. No child, youth, or vulnerable adult will be left unsupervised while attending an activity at our church. Accurate participation records shall be maintained for all children, youth, or vulnerable adult activities. At a minimum, these records should list the date and hours of the activity, the names of those participating, and the names of the adults involved directly in the activity and other adults on site at that time. Training on the policies of the church will be offered at least once a year. Training in CPR will be offered at least once a year. All parents are free to attend all children, youth, or vulnerable adult events. Walkie-talkies or cell phones will be utilized by nursery workers when a nursery is furnished for an activity in the fellowship hall or education building. Once an incident of abuse occurs or allegations of an incident is made, it is crucial that it be dealt with expeditiously and in clearly outlined manner. The staff person, volunteer, or helper who observes alleged abuse or to whom such alleged abuse is reported is required to report the incident to the person in charge of the activity and the Brunswick County Sheriff Department. The person in charge of the activity in which the alleged abuse was observed or disclosed shall immediately report to the pastor. Any person who is the object of the report will be required to refrain from all children and youth activities until the incident report is resolved. This should be handled in a discreet manner, recognizing that an investigation is still being conducted. A quick, compassionate, and unified response to alleged incidents of child abuse is expected. All allegations will be taken seriously. In all cases of reported or observed abuse in a children's activity, the entire staff of that activity shall be at the service of all official investigating agencies. The pastor or his or her designee is the only persons authorized to make statements to representatives of the media. All requests of statements should be directed to the pastor. If the allegation is against the pastor, the district superintendent will be contacted immediately. Pastoral support will be available to all persons involved in the incident.